Welcome to Dr. A's Weekly Healthy Bastard Health Tip. Hey folks, this week's health tip is on eczema and dermatitis. It's so common, I bet some of you fellas have had some of it, but what it describes is areas of inflammation of the skin. Now have a look at this picture here. You can see when you look at this inflamed skin, areas of redness, it looks really itchy and it's dry and crusty. This describes what eczema is. It's really a collection of symptoms. And if you have this sort of red rash here, it's almost certainly an eczema rash. That's the easy bit. So if you get a red, irritated patch on your skin like that, and your doctor tells you it's eczema, because it may be something else like a fungal infection or a skin infection, but if your doctor tells you it's eczema, then that's the easy bit. The problem then is what type of eczema, because there's so many different types that, again, you really need a GP or an expert to sort of focus you in on it and tell you what type it is, and then you can work on it. So let's take, for example, the most common types of skin inflammation like this, and that would be contact eczema. And contact eczema is caused by allergy or irritation of the skin to a certain substance. So if you look at this area of the skin here, it's inflammation caused by contact with oil or petrol. Mechanics can get it. Other people can get this sort of eczema on their hands from contact with dishwashing liquid. Now that's one of the reasons why I haven't washed any dishes for the last 30 years. I suffer from it and my wife understands. Second very common form of eczema is what's called atopic or allergic eczema. And it often starts in childhood, and it's commonly found, initially it covers the whole body, but then it tends to be focusing in on the elbows or behind the knees or in the neck areas, but it can be anywhere. And no one generally knows the cause of this type of eczema, but it's very common and it can be quite hard to treat. Other forms of eczema include if you've got bad circulation in your legs. See, this here is what's called varicose eczema, and it's because of the poor circulation in your veins. The point that I'm trying to get across here is that assuming you've got a patch of inflamed skin called eczema, there's a huge number of possible causes of it, and really you need GP advice on what that may be. But assuming you've been told it's eczema, it's then a matter of treating it, and that would be either, if you can find the cause, is avoiding that particular thing that brings on the inflammation of the skin. For example, if it's soap or a certain detergent, well, you've got to avoid it. Most people never find out what the cause it is, so they've got to treat the actual condition, which tends to come and go. So the key thing is moisturiser to keep the skin from getting dry and forming cracks. And there's some very good moisturisers you can get in the chemist. Or if it doesn't settle with that, you can use the steroid creams, which are anti-inflammatory steroid that your GP will give you. The key is to use the mildest form of steroid cream, because too much use of a strong one can give you thin skin. But if it really flares up, you may have an infection in that raw, cracked skin, in which case, again, you've got to have some antibiotics given by the GP. So that's this week's Healthy Bastards health tip. It's about eczema. It's very common, but you really need to get your doc to tell you what type it is and how best to deal with it. But in that dealing with it, you want to use the least amount of anti-inflammatory steroids, which can thin your skin. So the key is good moisturisation. So get a really good moisturiser and keep that skin smooth and covered. See you next week, fellas. Thanks.